What the space race is essentially NASA getting together with different community leaders in different parts of the nation and trying to get their technology out there into the world. Our team is actually using one that could be plugged into any electrical circuit. The way NASA designed this was that you could put this device into any circuit, and when the astronaut is in space and something goes wrong within the circuit of the spaceship, it could tell the operator that, hey, something's wrong within the circuit and I'm going to auto-correct it for you right now, but you need to get someone out here to manually correct it. So we figured, you know what, how could we turn this patent into a viable product? So we figured, you know what, if we could create a circuit that you could put around the head, and when you have impact to that circuit, you could then measure, where that impact happened and how long that impact happened and the size of that impact. And with those variables, you could then plug into a certain equation that could tell you whether or not the person is at risk of having a concussion. So we want to prevent that with our helmet by putting these sensors on the helmets of the players, so that way when they get hit, like the signal is then transmitted to a Bluetooth device that's on the helmet that gets transmitted to the medical professionals, either a physician or a team trainer, and that trainer could then pull out the player. And to take it a step further, we would even allow the parents to download an app on their phone, so that way they could know that if their kid just received a hard impact, they could then go down to the sideline and tell the coach to pull out their kid. Current medical literature has shown that if you wanted, the old way was you see a person get hit, you kind of assess or guess whether or not they have a concussion, versus you actually have a monitor that could detect either the duration of the impact, the size of the impact, location of the impact, and when you go into, I guess, the size of the impact, you have to take into consideration two factors. One is the actual linear force, and since our head is kind of like a ball, you have to also take in consideration the rotational force. Those are more, accurate of predicting a concussion versus just guessing. This season alone, they're predicting that 1 in 5 high school students or high school contact athletes will receive a concussion. And out of those 1 in 5, about 30% of them will go undiagnosed. So that's the problem. The problem is those that go undiagnosed. Those 30% of the 1 in 5 high school students that will get a concussion this season will continue playing football, continue getting impacts, and that is where you get the damage. And that brings on the long-term effects and the possibility of getting early dementia, early Alzheimer's disease. So there are other competitors out there, and they're doing a fantastic job. A lot of innovation out there that they're putting out there into the market, and they are showing results. So we want to make sure that what our product does is take a step further. And by that, we want to, first step is using the NASA technology. The NASA technology allows us to really sum down to where the impact's taking place on the head. And not only that, but since we're trying to not use too much mechanical equipment and use more electrical signals, the signal's going to be quicker and it's going to be, I could say, more accurate. So the name of the proposed company is minus tau. Minus tau meaning we want to take tau out of the equation. Now, what is tau? Tau is a protein that exists naturally within our bodies, and it comes into play to stabilize damaged tissue, especially within the brain. With this accumulation, they found a correlation that when you have a lot of tau protein, you're more likely to develop diseases that we're pretty familiar with, which are dementia and Alzheimer's. We want to prevent the accumulation of the tau protein. And how are we going to do that? We're going to do that with these sensors, which will let the sideline personnel know that they need to take the player out after receiving a concussion, because the damage happens. You can't prevent the concussion because you don't know if that player is going to have a hard impact or not. But you can prevent the player from going back into the game and getting subsequent impacts that will add on to the damage of the concussion, which is, in essence, the accumulation of the tau protein.